Hello.
Hey, STIX, how are you?
All good, man.
Yeah, thanks for dealing with our ineptitude.
Not at all, man. Everyone's human.
Right, man. So where are you calling us from tonight?
I live in Portland. I moved here about 10 years ago from New York City, where I lived for about 13 years before here. Of course, from LA originally. But these days I'm in Portland, which is awesome. I love it. And don't plan on moving soon.
You know, my daughter actually lives up there, and we really like Portland. It's a pretty fun town. It's getting kind of crowded now, man.
You're right. That's the one bummer. It's like other people have discovered how nice it is, and it used to be a lot less crowded, but it is getting more crowded, and that drives property up. So it's like happening everywhere. It's been happening in Seattle since the 80s, so I guess it's just due.
Now, you know, of course, I've been listening to Fear since the early 80s, and I'm sure you get asked about John Belushi and Saturday Night Live until you're blue in the face. But did you put a book out one time?
Did I?
Yeah, are you an author?
I have not. No. I've been interviewed in quite a few books. I've had quite a few people interview me and put books out of. I forget the last one that I was in. It was about the guy who did New Wave Theater, Peter Ivers.
Oh, yeah.
Which was probably the last thing I did that I remember. But yeah, no, I don't mind at all, man. It's like it was a great opportunity, and it really happened because of the bass player of Fear had met one of John Belushi's good friends and was giving him bass lessons. So when John came in town, his friend Tino Insana gave him all of our phone numbers, and John called me and said, "Hey, I want to buy you a drink." So I met him, and within about 10 minutes of meeting him, he said, "You got to do Saturday Night Live."
Wow.
So it's like pretty surreal meeting him at On the Rocks above the Rainbow in LA, and walking in there's Tatum O'Neal and Jack Nicholson sitting in there. It's like, oh, I guess this is kind of a special place, and drinking about 14 beers in a row, and my adrenaline was going so much that I didn't even feel the beers.
Wow, what a story, man.
So he was cool, man. John's super generous. As soon as I met him, the first thing he came out of his mouth is, "I'll give you $1 if you'll be my friend." And I felt bad because I didn't have a TV. I didn't even watch Saturday Night Live. I knew Animal House is about it, but I really didn't know John's shtick, and I told him that, and he just said, "That's not about me, man. It's about you." So just very humble cat, man. Real generous, really, funny guy. Just one-liner, kind of spontaneous guy. But, people expected him to be funny, so he liked hanging around with musicians because he felt like that's really what he was deep down. He said he was like a musician trapped in a comedian's body. But he hung around musicians. Everyone was real. There was no judgment or any of that stuff. So, like any entertainer, you don't necessarily he didn't like people shoving hamburgers in his face, and thought, once that happened to him, he decided he needed a bodyguard, which is a bummer for him. He just wanted to be a normal cat, like I'm sure a lot of people that regret being famous.
Yeah, I bet.
I've had it happen to me. I was in Westwood waiting for a movie in L.A., and this is probably early 80s, and I was with my girlfriend just standing in line for this long movie. I forget what it was, something premiering, and it was a ridiculously long line. And I see this couple walk past, and they're kind of punked out. And the dude kind of looks at me, and I got sunglasses on, so I pretend not to see him looking at me. And they kind of walk about 20 feet up, and then they double back, and the dude walks over to me and says, "Are you STIX?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "What are you doing here?" Like I belong in a shooting gallery or something, not in a theater line. And I was like, and the thing that fell out of my mouth, it was just like once in a lifetime thing. But I said, "I'm pretending to be normal." So it happens at every level, I guess. But Portland's the first town that my first day or two here in Portland, people like in a tattoo parlor here in Alberta. I walked into a tattoo parlor with my wife at the time, and she was looking to get a tattoo, and the guy behind the desk says, "You're famous. I know you." And then he thought for a while, and he figured out, he said, "You're a spit." But it's funny, that never happened anywhere else. It never happened in L.A. or New York. Living there 13 years, and it never happened to me when I was in L.A., or maybe people were too afraid to talk to me. But it's happened to me quite a bit, so I felt pretty much at home here. Day one.
Yeah, L.A. seems much more jaded than Portland.
Yeah, people, you notice that going on like a 7-Eleven here, they don't look at you like you're going to shoplift.
Right.
It's just like, hey, the guy's sweeping the floor, and he's got a big smile. Hey, how's it going?
Well,
it's like, wow, it's nice.
I have friends that used to live in the Midwest that are now like in Los Angeles, and nothing impresses them whatsoever anymore. And you're like, wow, you've become one of them.
Yeah, you can get jaded too. It happened to me. I remember when I lived in LA. I lived right on the border of Beverly Hills. I remember going to the market, the Safeway, and I saw some guy panhandling outside, and it kind of bothered me. And I thought, God, I guess there's a little prejudice in me. It was like, it's kind of. And then I walked in. And I heard someone saying, "There's a bum out there. Someone called the police." And I was like, wow, I wouldn't have called the police. But I had some of that in myself. There was a little prejudice. I could see it. But then when I saw someone else's reaction to it, it was like, wow, he's just got his hand out. He's not doing anything criminal. But it was just an eye opener to Los Angeles in the 90s. Was pretty divided and pretty stressful. That's why I got out in '92.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's happening here right now in Southern Oregon that we're seeing in a couple different circumstances that are happening more regularly than not. With the homeless people are kind of being.
There's, and I think it's Vermont. They take care of all their vets. They give them all homes. They don't allow them to be on the street. They've taken all the homeless vets and put them in housing.
Well, Vermont they have a senator that kind of does his job.
Yeah, well, that's. I think that should be across the country. And then there's another stage. If you don't want to do anything with your life, then give them $800,000 a month, and try and live on that. Or there should just be fair to people with mental disabilities too. A lot of these people, just can't. They're not lazy. They just can't put the right shape, in the cog. It's like it's not their fault. And
right.
It's like nothing's wrong with them. These are loving, sweet, kind people that are now faced with self-medicating and hustling. So it's like, who knows? It's cool. I'm total. If I won the lottery, my girlfriend always fantasized about opening these, gigantic shelters for people, with hundreds of units and just house people, to get everyone. When I lived in Germany for a little bit, and then I went back recently. And with socialism, there's no homeless people. If you don't want to do anything with your life, you get like €1,800 to €1,000 a month, and that's all. That's what you want to do with your life. Fine. But if you want to go to school, you can go all the way. If you're good, you can go all the way to PhD for free.
Yeah.
So it's kind of encouraging a different lifestyle there. It's like get what you can and run.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I didn't think you would have a political side, but it's cool to hear. I had Lee Ving from Fear on the show like a long time ago, back in 1999, and we talked about some similar things. But Lee has some funny viewpoints compared to yours. Like he's pretty radical. What's up with Fear these days? I know you're in the band NASALROD as well, but what's up with Fear? Are you guys still playing?
Well, Fear's Lee's been using some friends of his that he met in Austin. I don't know, back 20 years ago or something, however long it was. And he started out calling that band, that lineup, Leaving's Army, but he couldn't get the kind of work he wanted to get, so he changed it to Fear, and he owns the DBA, so he can do that. But it's, they put some records out, and they're playing the material, but it's not Fear as I know it. My friends call it Leaving Quartet. And I still get, money. It's like the first record still actually sells, so I do get regular royalty checks for that still. So it's just an example of there are a couple Fear things that are still selling. Other than that, at least I'm working with people licensing stuff and doing merch on skateboards and video games and stuff. He pays me some dribbles from that too. So, and he's in good shape these days. When I just spoke to him, I don't know, a few months ago, and he sounds like his old self. So I don't know if he's turned a corner, if he wants to, try and get closer to his grandkids or something. But either case, he sounds like the old Lee. Like, Lee's always kind of, had a certain edge to him, but there was always humor to balance it, and it was funny, and he kind of accepted everyone. I think for a period there, kind of lost his sense of humor, but from talking to him recently, he sounds like his old self, so it was nice. It was nice to hear him back in a positive frame of mind. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he wants something from him. Maybe he wants a reunion tour or something.
Well, that'd be great.
I don't know why.
I know I got to see Fear a couple times back in the day, but if you guys did a reunion tour, I'd definitely be one of the people in attendance somewhere.
Right on. Yeah. I know people have asked me, could you do that? I'm like, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I started teaching drums around 10 years ago, and it kind of forced me to play every day. And I never really done that. I practiced a couple times a week, maybe 3 times a week, or a couple times a week in a show. Never playing every day, and then playing in a couple bands here in Portland, and playing just about every day teaching. My chops, my students have made me a better drummer than I've ever been in my life. So I'm open for whatever. But in the meantime, I'm putting all of my energy into NASALROD. That's super high energy, and everyone in the band is super sweet and chill and really talented and pulls his or her own weight. So that band's really been satisfying. So that's we just finished a record. I just got the files on Friday, so I'll be mixing a new record very shortly, so I'm excited about that. That band is really the funnest band that I think I've ever been in. And a big part of it is the people, just the chemistry, just super nice people that are, there's no drama.
Yeah, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It does. My daughter's a 7th grader, and I hear this stuff, she brings home. She tries to stay aloof, from it, or tries, I try and give her a good perspective on it without telling her what to do. But it's like, there's so much unnecessary drama, and I think, man, I've been in so many bands like that. With one person that's like this thinker, and you put up with them, it's like, well, they're really talented, or, and then after a while, it's like, this isn't sustainable, so.
That's a good analogy, though. 7th grade girls can be sometimes what band members act like.
Exactly. That was my point. I'm starting to see the similarity.
So when are you going to be coming back to Southern Oregon with NASALROD, can we ask?
Yeah, this record is what we've been woodshedding for a while, so we've been just barely taking any gigs because we have had to put aside the energy to do sets, practice sets and stuff. And plus, we don't want to play a bunch of our new material that we're about to release and have that released on some crappy video and an early take on YouTube, So a couple reasons we've just not been playing. But as this record is finished, we're going to press it to vinyl, and we're going to tour behind it. So I don't know. That's probably going to be around the first of the year, maybe March. February, March is probably what we'll be looking at.
Nice.
When it's not so snowy. It's like we've toured in January before, and it's like just snow passes. We have a awesome van. We have a 20-passenger bus that's converted with bunks on it, so it's really awesome to fit all our gear and have a dope sound system. And that's our bass player. I bought that for the band from another band called the Slants here in town. So it's got some band vibe in it, and we dig it. So we can go anywhere with that. We've gone way down into Arizona and Phoenix and up to Glacier on the Canadian border. So we've just taken it a lot of places, and we'll come through. Some of my good friends live in Medford. I don't know if you know who Big John is. Big John and Jen McCullum.
I don't, but I know
really
I know the Pirate Punks.
They may know Gabe. This is the original bouncer. If you see early pictures of Fear, and you see this big dude who just would pick people up by their collar and their belt buckle and toss them back in the audience. That's Big John. And his wife of 30 some odd years, Jen, is a really well-known tattoo artist. She did like a bunch of tattoos for Cher, and she's just amazing. You look at her tattoos, and they look like a photograph.
Oh, wow. And she works out of Medford as well?
On it. Yep.
She does.
And they just moved up here not that long ago, so I'm yet to visit them. We did some Chico on our way to San Francisco shows, and I wasn't able to stop and see them, but I was just talking to my girlfriend today about making a trip, and going to visit them.
Well, you'll have to keep us posted.
She's got some awesome pictures. Okay, right on.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to keep us posted. So when you do plan on supporting the new album, doing a little touring, we can get you back on the air.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Maybe we could coincide or time something. Oh, we'll definitely by telephone, but if we're in your neighborhood.
Yeah, well, we
no, I do it.
We know you have a fan base around here for sure, and a lot of people looking forward to your return. Wish we had more time, man, but we really were stoked that you were taking the time to come on the Church of Rock tonight, man.
Right on, dude. No worries. I'll be happy to get you guys copies of as soon as we got stuff to play. New stuff is so dope. NASALROD stuff is so fun, and it's just like all my favorite new beats I'm able to utilize, and just a good environment. Man. I'm really psyched about that record, finishing that one. I just started on it today, and it's like I got a lot of work, but I'm excited about it.
Okay, and we're gonna actually follow up this interview with some NASALROD music. STIX, thanks again for being on the show. We really appreciate your time, my brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you both of you for being there, and glad to help out anytime.
Thanks so much, man.
And we will catch you the next time you're in town, man.
Yeah, man. And don't feel if you remembered something you forgot to ask me, or you're too embarrassed. Just said, don't worry about it. I don't judge. I'm totally into the vibe, especially the people that I've worked with or met. Usually
nice.
There's not many of them that I'll talk shit on.
Well, thanks again, brother. You have a great night, and it's STIX from Fear. Make some noise. Woo! Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Rock on, man.